everyone. Welcome to another episode of Mental Health Awareness Forum. And our today's topic is depression, a silent killer. The reason I chose this topic for today's discussion is there are few incidents which just happened last week or even start of this week as well, and that is one the most recent incident which is talk of the town as well, and that is Sushant Singh Rajput. He committed suicide because of depression. Then last week, I was reading some article and some news, and then I go through. There is a Pakistani origin student who is in America, finished his masters in neurophysics, and then pursuing his PhD in Howard University. But then all of a sudden, due to pandemic, maybe he was alone or something, he is going through depression and he commits suicide as well. And then there are few incidents which happened in Australia last week where few people commit suicide, and they are mostly youngsters. They are those who are the whole life is waiting for them. Like Sushant Singh Rajput, he is a big actor, a big Bollywood name. One person can't imagine that a person who is successful in his career, got money, got everything whatever one person can imagine for, is going through depression and reach to a point where life doesn't matter for them, and they commit suicide. Same as the person with that Pakistani origin guy, if I'm not wrong, his name is Asim, and he is in America. He's the only son of his parents, and then he commits suicide even though he got a very good future. You can see, he want to do PhD from Howard University. How many people reach Howard University? So I thought, this is the thing which we really need to discuss, because nowadays sometimes we think that okay, depression is something which has happened somewhere else, but we can't see that maybe there is someone in our family, there is someone in my home who is going through this sort of problem, and they don't have the courage to talk about. So first, let's welcome my co-host Kim Kulin. Hi Kim.
Hi, Sana. Firstly, I would like to give my condolences to the families of these people because it is, so terrible when this happens wherever it is and whoever it is. And when I did read the article about the young actor. He's such a handsome man. I'm sure he had so many millions of followers who were just absolutely devastated. But it's really very interesting because even in the media article, it mentioned that he was on antidepressants and he'd been
Yes.
taken off the antidepressants. And so I guess this is part of the awareness that we're trying to bring to people is the fact that going off the antidepressants can be as dangerous as being on them. And if you're out there on antidepressants now, do not just stop taking them. And there's a lot of research studies done on this. So I'm not going to go into that now because I think we're going to discuss this in the future a little bit in more
Yes.
depth.
Yeah.
But I would like to give my condolences to the families and to anyone else out there who's lost any loved ones due to this terrible, terrible, horrible thing that's happened to them.
Yes. And that is what, today our topic is really very serious as well. And that is depression, a silent killer. And for this, me and Kim, we thought that we would invite someone who got a background where, when we discuss few things with her, she should give her specialist opinion. So that's why we invited Carolina Kawajiro. She is from Colombia. She graduated as a psychologist in 2015 and is a specialist in clinical psychology. So let's welcome Carolina.
Thank you,
Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Carolina.
hi,
Hi,
Carolina.
everyone.
I'd just like to welcome Carolina as well. We met Carolina at our exhibition. We Citizens Commission on Human Rights had a
Yeah.
big exhibition in the city in December, and Carolina just happened to walk in, and she looked around and she was talking to one of my guys there for quite
Yeah,
some time. And
that's
do you want
true.
to just say a little bit about your reaction when you went there, Carolina? What was your reaction
Yeah,
when you saw it?
I was shocked be there because my intention in this country was studying English, but when I find this site in this place, I really exciting because that is a topic that I handled, so I know that, and I am passionate about the psychologist. So find these topics and find this place was very interesting for me.
Yeah.
So
First of
that's how
all,
we hooked up. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Thank you,
Kim, it's
Sana.
all right. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. I was just going to say, so that's how we have Carolina here tonight on our show, because then she reached out to us and offered to help work with us and be a volunteer. And
Okay.
she is a trained psychologist in her country, although
Yeah.
she's not practicing here in Australia, but she still has a wealth of knowledge there to share with us.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is the reason, Carolina, that we would invite you for our today's show. The topic is depression, a silent killer. And as a psychologist, you know that how serious this issue. And sometimes the problem is people didn't understand what means when you say that okay, this is depression, and these are the signs or the symptoms which is an alarming situation for you, that you have to seek medical attention, or maybe you have to seek some specialist attention or something like that. So these are the things which we are going to ask for today's show.
Okay. Yes, from a psychologist's point of view, depression is usually a mental disorder or a illness that affects several parts of our individual lives, right? The depression basically has three major characteristics about, for example, cognitive, affective, and behavioral level. Um, for example, in the thoughts in the depression are often hopeless, right? And are negative and recurrent in the time. So these thoughts are against oneself, with the world, or with the future, in that ways maybe. Um, Depression occurs when the feeling of deep sadness or despair lasts for at least 2 weeks or longer, and when they interfere with everyday activities such as work or even eating or sleeping, right? That
Yeah.
is basically meaning about the depression.
And Carolina, you very well explained, what it means depression. But there are a few people, even whether you are educated or you are not educated, and people from South Asian background and all that, we really hesitate to talk about depression or something that we are going through some anxiety and all that. So, and you got a rich background in clinical psychology, and you are specialist for children, adolescents, and family. So how you relate that, the upbringing of a child matters a lot in order to avoid these kind of depression or suicidal thoughts or anxiety.
Um, I think that the more you talk about the symptoms, right?
Yeah, the signs. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay.
signs. Yeah.
Yeah.
The signs, okay. The most characters of the depression maybe is the usually cognitive level are is a profiling sad, right?
Okay.
Is a thought recurrent in your brain all the
Uh-huh.
time. You think that the future is negative and your present is negative. You had always is wrong with you, and emotionally they feel anxiety also, and even about an uncertain and negative future. There is a behavioral loss of appetite, for example, also. And sleep is disturbed. And you have a mood depressed all the time. And other signs you could have, sorry, is decrease in the pleasure or interest in any activity. Also, you have increase or decrease in height or appetite, insomnia or hypersomnia. Um, in the relation with your body, for example, psychomotor agitation or slowly down is other sign, fatigue or loss of energy. And maybe you have excessive feelings of the worthlessness, right? Or guilt,
Yes.
or problems with your concentration in do something task or make decisions, right?
Yeah.
And of course, the recurring ideas of death or suicide. That is at one point so important.
Yeah. And then now, Kim, because you are also working on raising awareness for so long from
Yeah.
CCHR platform, so what are your opinion? Like,
I just wanted to go back to something that Carolina said just a moment ago
yeah,
about, the physical symptoms and the mental symptoms that a person has when they have depression. So, Carolina, I just wanted to ask you, as a psychologist dealing with adolescents and young children, um, when you come across this, or when you came across this in your work in Colombia, um, did you always consider it? Were you taught that it was just like this behavioural cognitive problem, or were you trained to actually get the person to have a full medical check prior to any sort of counselling or any other sorts of intervention that may have come on the scene as a result of that? Did you understand that,
Um,
Caroline? Yeah,
Again, please, about the treatment.
yeah. Just
Yeah,
whether you would recommend, like, were you trained as a psychologist to recommend people have a full medical check to see if there was any underlying medical condition?
yeah. I think that the first step in when we thought about the depression is check psychologist professional, and don't take hurry up maybe the medicines or drugs, or I don't know, maybe look up psychiatrics, right?
Yeah,
And the first step that we have to take with the shields or the teenagers, or even when you are an adult, is look at psychologist professional, because we have many treatments for that without medicines, without drugs.
even as
okay,
a
thank you.
psychologist, you suggest few other options as well rather than taking medicine.
Yeah, yeah. In I don't know how to say in English, but we used to apply, I don't know, yes, applying the treatment with ACT,
Okay.
acceptation compromise therapies,
Yeah.
is one way, for example. And also we have the behavior analyzing,
Yeah.
and that is a good way for treating the depression.
Yeah.
What is ACT? You said ACT.
Accept,
What is that?
ACT.
acceptation, yes,
No,
ACT is
T.
acceptation
Yeah.
therapy, acceptation
Okay.
compromise therapy.
And so, right. So it's a therapy that you
Yeah.
use. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a talking therapy. Do you know
Okay.
about that, Sana? Do you do that? Sana's a counsellor as well. Do you do
Yeah.
that sort of therapy?
Actually, the therapies which we do is from counseling point of view. It's
Yeah.
something like, just she mentioned, like, behavior therapy, behavior analysis, and all those things. And plus, there are few tests which, if you are confident enough, you are trained enough, then you can do TAT test and different sort of tests, like, in which we analyze, like, what is the tendency of, if somebody came to you with a problem, he got depression, or like, or some sort of suicidal thoughts and all that. Or
Mm.
otherwise, as a counselor, we let them speak that why they think they are alone, what sort of depressions they have, what sort of thoughts they have. And that is the major difference between a counselor or a psychologist.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Carolina,
Yeah.
what are some of the, what do you think is the role of parents in early childhood and adolescence? So, as a parent, if you notice signs that your child is, or your teenager is playing a lot on video games or locking themselves in their room or not being as social, and they're saying they're feeling depressed, what would you feel that the parents could do to actually help their child through these sorts of things?
I believe that parents should be a guide or a counselor for teenagers in that state of life, on that I don't know how to say that part of life they need a guide, right?
Yeah.
And no, I mean, the parents have the thought that we the parents be their friends, the yes,
Role
friends to
models, you can
sons.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've had to do
I think that
that.
I think that is a bad idea. Be the friends, because you are the parents. You know the thing. You know which is the behavior, the good behavior. Like a parents, which is the norms, which is the rules, which is the values, right? So when you have these positions in your family, in like a role, like a parent, you can be demonstrate. You can demonstrate that that way for your son, and I think that the role is much better with you are the parents are not the friend, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do
I've
agree. Yeah.
sorry, go on, Sana. Can
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just say something on that? Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Yeah. Yeah.
raised three children,
Yeah.
and I've been very fortunate because I've been able to maintain both roles with my children, so that I've been the parent and guided them, and had the control. So, you need to know, yes, you can do this, no, you can't do that. And there are barriers and freedoms. Um, and we need to be able, as a parent, to be able to delineate these and set those boundaries. But I found as my children grew up and became teenagers, I embraced them more as my friend. Not that I would go out partying with them or anything like that, but I find with all of my children now, and they're all in their 30s, is that they are my best friends. And they are the people that I go to if I need anything, and I'm the person that they go to. So I've always maintained that being a parent is the hardest job anybody will ever have. And getting that balance is so very important. And you need to
Right.
put the time into it to make
Yeah.
make it work. It's not just, it just doesn't happen naturally. You actually have to
Yeah.
work at it and make it happen. But it's the toughest job I have ever done, but the most rewarding. And I think, Sana, you would say the same as a parent as well. You've got a
Yes.
beautiful girl, very smart and alive. Yeah. So, okay,
Yeah.
thanks, Caroline. I'm going to hand you back to Sana.
Yeah. Nana, it just like I want to add on that, Carolina, you are right. Like, that parents, and as Kim mentioned as well, they have a major role in order to build a person. And it is the toughest job as well. Even from early childhood framework point of view, first 5 years of a child is really important. And this is the time when you set a future for your child, because you make their behaviors, you have to work hard on to interact with them. And then of course, one thing which Carolina mentioned is demonstrate. Like sometimes
Yeah,
if you think that they are in a problem situation, how to tackle that situation, rather
Right.
than telling them, you need to demonstrate that, okay, if I'm in that situation, I might do this, I might do that. So it just
Yeah.
how they handle stress or problem.
yeah, absolutely. And you're their
Yes.
role model.
Yeah,
Yes, it's a role model, and you have to take with them confidence, and you have to take love also. But I think that when you are equal with a child, or with your son, when yes, with your son, and maybe you lost a little, I don't know, discipline when you don't have the rules clear.
yeah,
I think that is the my experience has demonstrated when the parents when take more confidence that they need, and for become friends to the sons or to the childs, they do or they give everything to the guys, and so it's important make or be that clear for the
yeah.
parents.
Yeah, I do
Absolutely.
agree. And
Yeah.
then, Kim, I want to ask something from you, because I remember when I attended one of the workshops, and
Mhm.
you invited few people who go through different sort of depression throughout their life. And there is one guy who share his story. His father is on drugs, and then he got few mental issues and all that. And he said it's not only his father, it disturbed his childhood as well. And even it can affect the mother. And plus later on in life, their father commits suicide when he the mental asylum people, they send him home, and then one day he just commits suicide in front of everyone, I think in front of the kids. So
Yeah, he
I
wasn't in front of everyone, but it was like
yeah, it's not
everyone thought
everyone,
that
yeah.
he was okay. Everyone thought he was okay, and he pretended he was okay. I'm
Yeah,
fine, and he
yeah,
went off, and they found him. The mother found him later on, but he pretended he was okay. He actually said goodbye to everyone and
yeah.
then left. But yes, sorry, your question, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so
So this
how hard it is for a person to go through, for these kind of dilemmas, like when they saw these kind of things in front of them. And of course it can disturb their
absolutely,
childhood as well, and they
yeah.
become a disturbed person too.
Yes. Fortunately, I know the person you're talking about, and he
Yeah,
was very fortunate because he was able to, he had a very strong network of
yeah,
foster parents. His foster parents were absolutely brilliant, and they really helped him a lot. But he's still, he's in contact with his mother, and I spoke to him the other day, and he said it's very, very, she doesn't want to talk to anyone at the moment, and she's still on the psychiatric medication, and he's tried everything to try and get her off it. But
yeah,
what she's found is that the times when she's tried to come off it, and this is one of the big problems with the antidepressants, is
yeah,
that when people try to get off it, it is so damn hard. And you need a very supportive doctor and network of people to help you do that, because you need to, you need to make sure you've got all your vitamins and your minerals, and you're getting enough sleep, and you're getting the support, and you're not being left alone. Because I know, when I was working in Sydney with Citizens Commission on Human Rights, I used to talk to a lot of people who were absolutely totally desperate because they'd been on the medications for so long and just could not get off them. So, it's like it's very, very sad, and we need to make more people aware of it, so they actually do diligent research, and they talk to their doctor and look at the fine print in the pills that they're being given, and actually read them very, very carefully and understand exactly what they're getting into. But also, as I always say, Sana, and I
yeah,
believe this to the core of my soul, that in so many cases, there's an underlying medical condition. And I was reading an article today
Yeah.
that there are 50 medical conditions for ADHD, for example, right?
50.
So 50 underlying medical conditions that people, and that they don't know. And I was looking at another paper from a guy in the US who does courses for psychiatrists and psychologists, and he had like a big, fat, thick list of different medical conditions that manifest as depression or schizophrenia or other mental illnesses. So it's like definitely what Carolina is saying about depression is, I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah.
However, I think we really do need to use both modalities. We need to look at those medical conditions, clear that out. If it's not that, then they need someone to talk to. We need to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
So
And one thing which I need to ask Carolina, from a psychologist point of view, if a person start taking any medications like antidepressant and all that, do you think if they stop taking the medication, it can lead towards suicidal thoughts, and then they may be more depressed and all that if they stop taking their medication? Is there any link?
Um, I think that please repeat me. Repeat the
Nana,
answer.
my question is,
Thank you.
Nana, maybe it's too long, so that's why. But my question is, normally, if people are depressed, doctors or psychiatrists, they suggest antidepressant medications, medicine.
Yeah.
So if a person start taking these medicine, and then in between they stop taking these kind of medicine, do you think it leads toward big problem?
I try to explain a little bit that
Yeah.
when you take the first step, the medication, without knowledge about yourself, yeah, and
Yeah.
you admit in first step that you need the drugs or medicine,
Yeah.
um, you have a problem with you. I mean, you don't know you, and you admit that the drugs or the chemical, right,
Yeah.
and get in your body and give the solution that you can find in the other time. And I think that, like I told you, this the first step that you have to use when you have a problem or a mental, your mental health is no good, is find or talk or be heard or listen a psychologist. um
Yeah.
I think that is a fierce decision that you have to make,
Yeah.
because we have less stronger treatments for
Yeah.
say something,
okay,
and when we have these ways for treatment the depression or others problems with the mental health, we try to find a less stronger way for that results in your life, in the life to the patient.
Yeah.
So the medicine is maybe, yes, the perhaps the last way that we could use with the
yeah,
patients.
Yeah.
absolutely,
And that's, I think
great,
it's a very good thing to know as well. People, we are trying to aware people as well, that look, it's really important to know about yourself, your condition, your health. Physically, either you required what sort of medicine, what sort of test required before you start taking any sort of antidepressant. Am I right, Kim?
That
absolutely.
is,
And it's like what Carolina said, you
Yeah.
need to know yourself. because, you know, like a drug that one person has will have no effect on them, and then the same drug could have a very serious effect on someone else, because everybody is different and
Yeah,
everybody reacts different to
Exactly.
different, you know, foods. They have allergies. They have different biological makeup. You know, everyone's different. You know, it's like we were talking the other night, and one there's my friend Narita, who was on the show last week, she
yeah,
was talking about a condition that 70% of Australians have called MTHFR.
yeah,
And it's a genetic problem that's only recently been discovered. I don't know, probably, you know, 10 years ago, since they've really been able to do the genetic testing. But this is a genetic problem that manifests as a mental condition. So these people who have this particular condition um, can't synthesize vitamin. I think it's vitamin B8 or something like that. And that's one of our brain vitamins, our brain gut vitamins. So it's all very interconnected. And I think we need to just look at, once again, I can say this so many times, we have to step back, look at the whole picture, look at ourselves and go, you know, what is going on here? Not just, oh my God, like what Carolina said at the start was, you know, they think they're a bad person. I'm a bad person. There's something wrong with me. You know, there's not something wrong with people. You know,
yeah,
people are basically good, and they can get out, go for a walk, you know, talk to people. You know, they can call Sana. You can do a 1 hour. Sana's doing
yeah,
1 hour free counselling sessions with her
yeah,
group, and talk to people like Carolina, even though they're in, you know,
yeah,
Australia, not as a psychologist, she still has all that wealth of knowledge there that she can use to help.
yeah.
So, yeah,
And that's right,
Yeah, that's
Kim, that it's
yeah,
really important that they should talk about the issue rather
yeah,
than
absolutely,
just like try to hide it. It's really important
yeah,
that you talk about your issues.
yeah. But
Yeah,
I understand why people don't, because I know for myself, Sana and Carolina, if I get sick, I don't want to see anybody. You know, if I've got a headache or if I've just got the flu or something's coming on, just put me in my bedroom with a book, bring me a cup of tea. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. Don't come and visit me. I'd be, you know, so I really do understand. But if that went on for more than a couple of days,
yeah,
I'd have to start thinking, what's going on here? What do I
yeah,
need to do to pull myself out of that? And sometimes you have to get to those inner reserves that you have deep inside you and just pull them up and just make a decision. I'm going to do something about that. And once you start thinking more positive, once you start, you know, maybe you can make an affirmation, I can do this, I can do this, you know,
yeah,
and you pull yourself up out of it, then, you know, there might be a bigger light at the end of the tunnel for you.
yeah,
But I do understand.
yeah, yeah,
remember as the one of main symptoms about the depressed is have a less activity or resolve problems with the everyday life and inability to take and solve problems. So when
Yeah.
you don't participating with your family, with your friends, with your social, or you have problems with your partner or economic issues, that is a sign. That is a sign, and maybe the fact that you stay in your bedroom and you take a few days, maybe that is part of the resolution of the resolve, and we have to take care in what time or how long is that term for take that I don't know how to say, take that space or gap in yes in your behavior, because when these signs take a more time, that is enough, and that is the problem.
Yeah, and I think that is like, we all try to do that, motivate those people like, who are depressed, who got through different sort of stress or anxiety, that like, it's time to speak up about your issues or problems. There are so many people around you, like, who can offer free services. Plus there are so many people around you who are your well wishers, like your friends, your families. So it's better, rather than just like, sit in one corner and start thinking about some negativity, that why something is going like you have
Yeah.
to face these kind of issues. It's better you speak up.
Mm.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing is like, besides these medical conditions that can be underlying it, there's people go through grief as well. Like, I'm sure, the families of those lovely young men that you were talking
Yeah,
about at the start of the show, Sana.
yeah,
It is natural to have grief because, when we have someone we lose, and I don't believe that grief, there's a finite time that for grief. So everyone's different, like someone once told me, oh yes, you can only grieve for 3 months or something like that. And I said, what a lot of rubbish. You
yeah,
know, my mum died. My mum died over 20 years ago now, and I'm not grieving for her, but I still think about her and I think about her. And when I do think about her, I may sort of shed a tear, or I'll talk to my sisters, and, I still miss her. She'd be over a
yeah,
hundred now, but, you know, and I
yeah,
don't know if we ever truly get over the loss of a loved one, but we have to look at positive measures that we can take, because we need to live for the living. We need to live our life, and we need to look at the people around us, and put our attention on them. So I think,
Yes.
once again, my condolences for those people out there who have lost their loved ones. And what we need to do, we need to expose what's going on more and more. And I noticed today, that in the paper the other day, the health minister has actually ordered a review after the study. There was a study done, which I was talking to you about, Sana.
yeah,
So there's now going to be a linking between suicides and the antidepressants.
yeah,
So finally, someone is actually going to do something about it, because, anyway, we can talk more about that next week.
yeah.
But definitely, this needs to be reviewed by the government at that level. It needs to be addressed, and then
Need to be
solutions
reviewed.
to be put
Yeah,
in place. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I do
yeah,
agree. And then again, as Kim mentioned, I think one program is still not enough. There are thousand things still need to be
yeah.
discussed. But now it's time to, like, say goodbye to our viewers. And again, before I say this, I would like to say thank you to Carolina for your time. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
your
you.
yeah, it was really lovely talking to you. And I think like, your view is really important in order to discuss such a crucial issue, which everyone, or even every household, if I'm not wrong, like, maybe
Thank you.
somehow at some point of your life you go through stress, you go through, like, a little bit of depression and all that, because life is so busy. So once again, thanks for your time. And
Yes. Yes, and here is so important for all us, like persons. I mean, we have an adults. We are adults, right? And we
yeah,
have like a person. We have problems, but the key is exposed. Like say Kim, we have problems and uncertainties, but in this case, the parents or even we adults are raising people for a society. So
yeah,
which kind of person we like you to we like your race,
yeah,
That's
and
right. Yeah,
we have many forms or many ways for for give help.
yeah.
So it's important talk and it's important speak with somebody.
Yeah. Thanks a lot,
thank you.
Carolina. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you,
And
Kim.
Thank you,
Thank you, Sarah.
Carolina.
yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, Kim. Thanks a lot. And in the end, I just say, like, today we try our level best to cover this important topic, which is depression, a silent killer. But in future, we will try to discuss or shed more light on this particular issue. Till then, keep watching and keep supporting A1 TV. Thank you. Thanks, Kim.